little bit, but we'll get through. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic
that
for which
stands
one
one
nation
under
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
justice.
You received the minutes, reviewed the minutes. Are there any additions or changes to the minutes? If not, can I have approval to approve the minutes? Motion to approve. So moved. Thank you. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. All right, let's hear the good and the bad, John.
I certainly will. Thank you, Gwen. We'll keep it good this morning. Lots of good stuff. Brendan will be jealous you missed it.
Oh, good. Now I'm happy.
So let's start with shining a spotlight on access. And this is very timely given that in July we've celebrated the 30-year anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which prohibits discrimination against people with disabilities, and that includes in the area of public transportation. We have the pleasure and the privilege of serving these members of our community. We believe that it's very important for they be able to gain their independence, and having access to quality transit certainly helps that effort. Just a few facts and figures for the group here. Over 25 million Americans have some type of travel limiting disability. And actually, people on a whole that have a travel limiting disability use public transportation at a greater rate than folks who do not. So we are very happy to serve them. We have the pleasure of serving them, and we're glad to do our part for those members of those disabled members of the community. In July, last week of July, we had two events, one at the Hamilton County DDS and also one downtown, a honk and wave event. On the previous slide there is a picture of Mr. Harris. He came out there to encourage people to honk in support of the ADA. You see some of the employees that got in the action there, and an access vehicle parked outside of DDS. And you've really never seen somebody get the attention of motorists and enthusiasm quite like Mr. Harris and Mark McEwen. Mark's really got it down, getting folks to honk. If you want an 18-wheeler to make a bunch of noise, Mark McEwen's your man. So we saw that the last week of July. So thanks to everybody for coming out. Also, let's talk about what we're doing at Access to take care of our employees and our Access clients. We are installing a protective barrier on the Access fleet. What you see there on the left is an initial mock-up, an initial prototype. But note the tinting of the barrier there. We are moving with a much more clear version. We have had nothing but positive employee feedback. Installation is underway. And we've also taken to messaging on board in terms of keeping social distancing on board with our passengers. So signage on board, making sure that people spread out on the buses, and also making sure that this communication is available in Braille as well on board the vehicle. So thanks to everybody and their creativity and efforts for continuing to look out for our Access employees and passengers. We also hope that everybody enjoyed the virtual awards presentation. Craig, Gwen, fantastic job. I hope everybody had a lot of fun making it and being a part of it and watching it. We're worldwide now with Cedric the Entertainer being part of our event there. That was certainly very exciting. So thanks to Brandy and her team again for coming up with a very creative way to celebrate the best among us in these very challenging times. And the awards and accolades for our employees continue. Members of OPTA were in town on August 5th to recognize several of our employees for their outstanding contributions. OPTA gives out excellence awards, which honor individuals who have exemplified leadership and advocacy for public transit in Ohio. Nominations were submitted by OPTA members. So of the 63 transit systems in the state of Ohio, 63 systems, we received multiple awards there. So we're very happy to again recognize and shine a spotlight on our employees, starting with the OPTA Milestone Awards. So in recognition of driving 30 years without a preventable accident, OPTA recognized operator Reginald Brown and retired operator Stephen Rolfus on August 5th. And I'm sure you also recall the great story of operator Antonio McClendon. Antonio received the OPTA Community Impact Award, one of only 5 awards given out in public transportation statewide by OPTA. Antonio's efforts with the onboard shooting of a Metro passenger, Mr. Nico Larkin. Antonio acted with a cool head, bravery, courage, and a common trait among Antonio and our operators. And we're soon going to recognize Jeff Munstock as well. What I like about all 4 of these employees is they all would not want the spotlight on them, right? They would tell you that they come in to do their jobs, and they want to do it without recognition, without celebration. So we take pleasure in doing just the opposite and celebrating their great efforts. So these operators here, Mr. Brown, Mr. Rolfus, Mr. McClendon, we thank them and recognize them for a job very well done. Jeff Munstock, I mentioned Jeff. Jeff also received the OPTA Award as recognition of what they call their 4 under 40. So recognizing transit professionals under the age of 40, celebrating the future of transit in Ohio, because we have these folks as part of our industry, and we're very happy to have Jeff. OPTA recognizes their achievements and their leadership within specific areas. Jeff, in particular, is very instrumental in new developments and leading new initiatives in the maintenance of our fleet and facilities. Jeff was at the forefront of the pilot program for the 4-day work week in our heavy repair shops and body shops. It resulted in great employee feedback on the program, a boost in morale, a boost in productivity. Jeff's also been right there ready to help with all of the PPE and safety challenges that we've had through the pandemic. He also leads the efforts for designing and then receiving the new buses on property. That is currently underway with a 2020 version. And this is just a little snapshot of all the great work that Jeff does. And last month, you'll recall, we recognized the retirement of Carlos Rowland. So this month, want to make sure everybody officially is made aware that Jeff is now permanently in the role of the Fleet and Facilities Director. So thank you and congratulations to Jeff. And now I have the opportunity to welcome another member of the team, the newest member of the team. David Braun is joining us to be the Director of Transit Operations. David has over 30 years of experience in the transit industry. He's been General Manager at 4 systems, including Tank, not too long ago. And interesting fact tidbit about David, he hired Andy Aiello at Tank. Right, and David is here with me. David, if you want to hop in and show your face.
Hello, everyone. Where am I?
You're right up here.
All right. Hi. I'm really happy to be at Metro. I think I told them during my interview that I've skirted this system for many years. I worked in Hamilton as a general manager when I first got out of college. I ended up at Tank as a general manager. And I worked for First Transit for 23 years. So certainly I was in this area and in this business for quite some time. I'm very familiar with SORTA and even a lot of your past employees. and I look forward to serving the board and of course, the community. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, David. Moving on, we have some more chances to celebrate successful employee careers here. So best wishes on the retirement of Larry Green of Building Maintenance and Rhonda Hill from the storeroom. Both employees served with distinction, with high quality performance. If you were at the events, their retirement events, you could see how their co-workers are going to miss them and loved working with them. We certainly have as well. So best wishes, Larry and Rhonda. And I do have some other news to share before I wrap up. I'd like to take a moment of silence for recently deceased operator James Cleveland. James was with us for 29 years at Metro, serving with distinction, a wonderful career. But for those that know him, know that James was a very good man, very good soul. He will be missed. He will be missed here. Certainly by his family and friends, they have our condolences and best wishes. We reach out to the Cleveland family. So if we could please just take a collective moment of silence here for James. Thank you, everyone. And that is the news report for August.
Thank you so much, John. Appreciate
Thank you.
it. All right, moving right along. Let's look at the ridership report. Matt?
All right, good morning. Just a few slides for you this morning on the ridership for the month of July. So we'll start with fixed routes. Total ridership for the month of June was 517,000. It's about 46% off from our original projection, but that is also up from 475,000 in June. The local ridership was 504,000. Express ridership was just over 13,000. And just a reminder that full service did begin on June 28th, so July was a month of full service. Year to date, ridership is about 4.7 million. That's off about 35% in our original forecast. And we have a couple of KPIs for you this month. Passengers per hour for local service was 9.7. That's about 11 below our budget of 20.7. Passengers per trip on Express was 2.8. That's about 13 below our budget of 16.2. And our average weekday ridership for July was just over 19,000. That same metric was less than 18,000 in June, so we are moving in the right direction. Saturday average ridership 11,475, and Sunday was just around 9,800. And finally, on to Access. Total ridership for Access in the month of July was 6,033 rides. That's about 70% or 14,000 rides lower than the original forecast. 5,500 of those trips took place on weekdays, 214 on Saturdays, and 298 on Sundays. And year-to-date total ridership for Access is just under 65,000. It's about 52% lower than our original projections. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from Matt or comments? All right, thank you. All right, let's moving right along. We now have some action items, is that correct? The first one is the approval of our RTC Freedom Center garage door replacement contract. And it's my understanding that you did send this out to minority vendors and women, and you said you received nothing back.
No, we did not.
Okay. We need to talk about that because I keep getting mixed messages. But you did get 64 bids. Do you want to go over the contract recommendation?
Yes, and actually, we solicited 113 bids. 64 of them were sent out to DBEs, MBEs, and WBEs.
Okay.
This was a request for proposals, so it was lowest bid won. So our recommendation is that Graybach Construction was the lowest bidder on this project, and it's not to exceed $233,420. The project is for the replacement of the overhead garage doors that's part of the Freedom Center loading dock. Also, part of that development and design for the new ones will stop or prohibit as much damage to these doors that cause the other ones to fail. It's a firm fixed price. All the cost of that will be coming out of the RTC fund. So it's all local money. And estimated times within 3 to 4 months of construction that they would be done with construction.
I also want to point out that the Riverfront Transit Center is owned by the city of Cincinnati, and the cost of repairing the doors will be paid for by the city of Cincinnati out of the Riverfront Transit Fund.
Okay. That was going to be the question.
Not Metro money.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
This is Robert Harris. I so move.
Thank you, Robert. Is there a second?
I'll second. This is Mary Miller. I'll second.
Thank you, Mary. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Say nay. Thank you. The recommendation has been approved to forward to the board. The next action item is the procurement summary report.
Miss Gwen, I'm sorry, that's the resolution for the RTP.
I forgot it was all in one. Okay. I'm sorry, all in one. So then it would be the other items.
No, there are no other items on the agenda.
No other items. All right. Any discussion? Any gossip? Get some kind of conversation going. But everybody's doing all right?
Gwen, I have one thing on the last item. I'm sorry, I was having a little trouble getting the document up. And I was just wondering on the summary if there's a bullet point item that was put on there by mistake. It looked like it said it was for all the garages. Anybody else?
30 garages.
Is that right?
Yes, Blake's correct. If you see on the action item there, the first bullet point under financial considerations, that is not part of this contract or this bid. That is a completely separate item there, and that would be completely separate procurements. And that one is not finalized. That is not part of the action this morning. So we apologize for that.
Yeah, thanks for catching that. So we will start with the bullet point 2 then.
Right, and it just can be edited for when it gets to the full board.
Right.
Just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Blake, for catching that. When I saw the 130, I was confused. Okay. All right. Any other corrections or additions? Daryl, any final comments?
No, thank you all very much for this morning. I appreciate you being a part of the organization. We look forward to moving forward.
All right. Thank you all so much, staff, and for all the work you're doing. And I can't wait till we can all sit together around the table.
Thanks again for stepping in this morning, Gwen.
Motion to adjourn.
So So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Second? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.